What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about the top 5 most heavily shorted EVs in the market as of right now. So I want to go over all the things that you need to know, but first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So starting off this upcoming week, it's going to be extra volatile towards EVs because you have the presidential election. So that is coming out on November the 5th. And then aside from that, you do have on Thursday interest rates. So potentially a 25 basis point cut is the forecast. And so the whole EV sector is very sensitive to interest rates. So of course, both of those could work very positive as well as very negative. And the reason why I say negative for the interest rate decision is because I think the market's been pricing in 25 basis points over the last week for the most part. And potentially with a lot of data coming out, somewhat better than anticipated, that might not necessarily warrant a cut. So for instance, if there isn't any cut, it goes against the forecast, then the market will really react negatively. So once again, this is why this upcoming week is going to be extra volatile. And even right over here, this just was posted roughly like an hour ago or whatever. So it went from roughly Trump in being kind of potentially in the lead by 60 to 40. Now it looks like he's essentially losing 51 to 49. So it's going to be probably right down to the wire. We'll just have to wait and see. So let me know your thoughts on that. But starting off with stock number 5, you do have Lucid. On Friday, it did just hit a new 52-week and all-time low at $2.20. Over the last 1 year, down 45.68%, and in 2024, down 47.74%. Right now, 19.66% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 234.33 million shares. Cost to borrow average is 1.72. You see some signs of manipulation because cost to borrow minimum is negative, meaning that there is a broker out there physically paying people to short Lucid, as messed up as that is. And just want to draw your attention to here. So shorts did increase 382,000 shares on Friday. And then there's a lot of other good information up top here that I'm not necessarily going to go over, so feel free to pause the video, go through it if you feel just, but there is in excess of 10 million shares available to be shorted. So shorts have quite a lot of ammunition if they really do want to double down. Plus, Lucid actually has their earnings on the 7th, so the same day as the interest rate decision. So we'll obviously that'll add an extra layer of volatility towards Lucid. Moving on to stock number 4, you have Workhorse, ticker is WKHS. On Friday, went up 1.93%. Over the last 1 year, though, it is down 90.6%, and in 2024, down 89.29%. Just to go over their earnings, it looks like that is slated for after hours on the 8th. This is the current estimates on a side note, but 26.98% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 5.62 million shares. Shorts did basically nothing. They increased 505 shares, so whoop-de-doo on Friday. But cost to borrow average is 18.81. Utilization is 80.41. And through IBKR does indicate around 100,000 shares is available. So there was clearly a buy that did happen on Friday for the purposes of lending out shares. And this is something that I've been bringing up time and time again, is typically whenever you see these stocks that have limited supply, typically some big entities will come buy the stock just for lending out purposes. So maybe that is why it did go up 1.93% on Friday. Once again, something to keep note of. Moving on to stock number 3, you do have Nikola. So it did go down 4.45% on Friday. Over the last 1 year, down 88.08%. And in 2024, it is down 85.69. On a side note, give yourself a shout out if you do own any of these stocks that I am going to be talking on or I have talked on, and potentially why. Is it because of upcoming earnings, or is there some other kind of attributing factor? And it looks like they just had their earnings on the 31st. Not the best. So it looks like it missed on earnings per share, missed on revenue. Yeah, not good at all. But aside from that, though, it is on the threshold list, and it looks like it's been on the threshold list for ever since, for the most part, October 23rd. So in theory, any stock on the threshold list for 13 consecutive trading days, the SEC should be interjecting, going after the market makers, getting them to rectify it. So that should be coming this week, but 27.92% of the free float is being shorted, works it to be 13.72 million shares. Shorts returned 358,000 shares on Friday. Cost to borrow average 260.78%, and then utilization 71.42. Through IBKR does indicate around 100,000 shares is available to be shorted, and they charge kind of on the high end, so 118.15%. So again, this is stock number 3. Moving on to stock number 2, that is good old Fairday futures. So on Friday, it did go down 1.46%. On after hours, it did go down 4.46% because they submitted a S1, so they're registering another 29 million shares for dilution. And yeah, that's not all that great, but over the last 1 year, down 98.41%, and in 2024, down 92.71%. 36.55% of the free float is being shorted, works it to be 4.06 million shares. Friday, shorts did increase 71,000 shares. Cost to borrow average 30.96, and then short score, so the higher the number, the higher the likelihood of a squeeze happening, is sitting at 80.09%. And I've obviously said this in the past, but you have to take this with a grain of salt, because if you do believe the company, any company, is diluting behind the scenes, just they haven't disclosed it yet, that means these numbers are incorrect, right? Because this is just factoring in the best to our ability, what is the current outstanding share count, and that is going to really change the dynamic of all these ratios behind the scenes. But through IBKR, though, does indicate around 950,000 shares is available to be shorted. So this is your stock number 2. And moving on to last but not least, that is MULN Automotive. So it did go down 5.85% on Friday, down 99.93% over the last 1 year, and then down 99.86% just in 2024. So pretty crazy stuff for that one, but it does indicate it is on the threshold list, and it has been on the threshold list for pretty much consecutively up until September the 16th. So if true, then the SEC is really dropping the ball with this one, but 59.44% of the free float is being shorted, works it to be 1.21 million shares overall are being shorted, and roughly about 72,000 shares was increased on Friday. Very high cost to borrow, so cost to borrow average is 344.98%, utilization is 51.79, and then through IBKR does indicate around 85,000 shares is available to be shorted. So yeah, this is your top 5 list. Like I mentioned, in theory, with a lot of the data points and what could be coming out this week, that could really kind of make the whole EV sector hot, and potentially through that, shorts would be mitigating risk, closing out some of the positions, or it could really make things a lot worse. So let me know your thoughts on that. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. 2 things I do want to share with you though. Take advantage of this promo because it gives you 8 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. Free is good, so might as well take advantage of that. And then as well, I did launch memberships. So if you like the channel, want to support the growth, you can definitely join as a member. Or if you want buy signals on stocks and options, then definitely take a look at that. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.